Okay, so now we have solving equations and inequalities notes with two steps. We're just going to take it a step at a time, refresh those brains, get back into the learning math mode. Now, I use something called a three-question method. This is the three-question method right here. To solve an equation, you need to follow the three-question method for every equation. And I promise you can solve any equation for this. It'll work for any subject matter. Question number one is, what do I need to get by itself? And what I usually need to get by itself is the variable or the letter with an equation. It might have multiple variables, but there is one that I'm usually specifically solving for. Question number two is, what do I need to get rid of? Okay. And what do I need to get rid of is everything by it. Big technical terms. Everything by the variable. So everything by it, the positives, the negatives, the numbers, everything by it to where it's the only thing on that side of the equal sign. And then question number three is, how do I get rid of it? What's the opposite? In math, this is an important word. So the opposite of plus is minus. The opposite of multiply is divide. So you're going to do one of those operations on all of these. And then the important thing is, and most kids know this, is what you do to one side, you must do to the other. This is to keep the equation balanced. So I always like to draw like a line down to remind you guys how to do it. And then this is something that'll come up later. We will now explore how to apply these questions to solving an equation. You must ask yourself these three questions for every step. Well, today we're going to have two steps. We're going to go straight up. So I'm going to guide y'all through it step by step. You don't have to fill this in every time, but on the first example, I want to show you exactly what we're doing. So on this first example, I also gave y'all an inequality. An inequality is where it has the greater than, less than. I'll go over here and make a note. Inequality is less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, which means it has multiple answers. So question number one from above, and you will have your notes here to look at, is what do I need to get by itself? So in this problem, y'all need to tell me exactly what do you need to get by itself in this problem. And that would be the 2x, because we want to get that variable by itself. But right now it's paired with that 2, so we have to leave it there right now together. And what do I need to get rid of? Well, what is by it? Now, I usually like to cover this part in class, and you can see what's by it is the plus 4. I need to get rid of that plus 4. And it's very important you tell me what we're getting rid of. We're not just getting rid of a 4, we're getting rid of a plus 4. Okay? And how do I get rid of it? What's the opposite? What is the opposite of a plus 4? It would be a minus 4, right? So I'm going to line it up right underneath it. Notice I had done my line down. So what I do to one side, I must do to the other side of that line. Okay. So on this side, I'm left with 2x less than 10 minus 4 is 6. Those do go together because they have the same last name. Now, like a broken record, we're going to ask ourselves again. We're on this step right here. So what do I need to get by itself? What do I need to get by itself over here? Now I got to get the x by itself. Okay, so it's next to this 2. And we're going to ask ourselves, what do I need to get rid of? I need to get rid of this 2 right here, but you have to tell me, what is that 2 doing? When a number and a letter are right next to each other, they are multiplying. So I need to get rid of a times 2 or a multiply 2. It's really important you tell me that. So how do I get rid of it? What is the opposite of that times 2? The opposite of the times 2 is a divide by 2. And when we divide in high school math, we do the fraction bar. We do not write a divide sign, okay? So 2 divided by 2 reduces to a 1, so that just leaves you with the 1x, is less than 6 divided by 2 is 3. And that is the answer to the equation. So it might seem like a lot, but I give you less problems because I want you to do them right. So it's really, really important that you use the 3 questions in order to help you. So we're going to work through some examples. And again, in class, we might do some different examples, but I like to work through all of them in the notes. So I'm going to come over here, and the first thing I'm going to ask myself is, I'm going to draw my line down. What do I want to get by itself? 3x. So I circle it. What do I need to get rid of? Everything by it. What is by it? A minus 24. How do I get rid of a minus or subtract 24? Plus or add 24, correct? So I'm left with 3x equals 72 plus 24 is 96. And then you're welcome to use a calculator for that. I have an answer key right there. So then we're going to ask our question again. What do I want to get by itself? I want to get this x by itself. So what do I need to get rid of? I need to get rid of a times 3, a multiply 3. What is the opposite of multiply or times? Divide by 3. And remember, a fraction bar is nothing but a division symbol. These reduce to 1. So I have x equals 96 divided by 3 is a 32. And I'm going to square my answers so they stand up for you guys. So then we're going to go to number 2, and I'm going to ask myself, draw my line down, ask myself the 3 questions, excuse me. What do I need to get by itself? Right now, I got to get that variable and that coefficient together, the negative 4x. And notice, just like with combining like terms, I circled that negative because it goes with it, okay? So now I'm going to cover this, and I need to get rid of this positive 65. How do I know it's positive? There's no negative in front of it. So I'm going to minus 65, and I'm going to line it up right underneath this because they have the same last name. And I'm left with negative 4x equals, I have 328. Okay. Now we're going to go through the process again. What do I need to get by itself? The x. So on this one, it's really, really important. There are a lot of mistakes here. What do I need to get rid of? What is that negative 4 doing with that x? Multiplying. So to get rid of multiply, I divide. So I'm getting rid of the whole thing. I'm getting rid of everything by it. I'm not getting rid of a minus 4. I'm getting rid of a times negative 4. So to get rid of times, we divide. That reduces to 1. So x is going to equal negative 82 when we do the math. Okay. Again, this is all review. I'm hoping some of you guys are flying through this, but I want to get real detailed, start out real nice and simple. All right, so let's go to our next one. Now we're getting into inequalities. Here's the golden rule of inequalities right here. Don't forget to blank the inequality sign, when you multiply or divide, by a negative. What do we do with that sign? We flip it, okay? We flip it. Opposite. We make it the opposite. Positive becomes a negative, greater becomes a less, okay? So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to do my first problem. And my first problem is right down here. And it's a fraction. That's okay. I'm going to use my 3 questions. So I'm going to draw my line down, because when you're doing the math, you treat the inequality just like an equal sign unless you multiply or divide by a negative right here. So that x is paired with that divided by 3. So I'm going to circle that, and I need to get rid of everything by it, which is a minus 2. How do I get rid of a minus 2? I'm not just getting rid of a 2. I'm getting rid of a minus 2. You got to name the operation too. Minus 2 is the opposite is a positive 2. So I have x divided by 3 less than or equal to an 11. So now I'm going to ask myself the 3 questions again. What do I need to get by itself? The x. On this one, what do I need to get rid of? I need to get rid of a divided by 3. How do we get rid of divide? What's the opposite? We multiply by 3. So this reduces to 1, and I'm left with x is less than or equal to 33. Don't skip those just because they look hard, guys. I promise. Okay? They're there. They're okay. So I'm going to draw my line down to separate the left and the right. And I'm going to ask myself the 3 questions. What do I need to get by itself? That negative 2x. So what do I need to get rid of? Everything by it, which is this over here. What's by it? A positive 4. How do I get rid of a positive 4? With a minus 4. Very good. And when I do 4 minus 4, that cancels out to a 0. So I am left with negative 2x, and 32 minus 4, so it's a greater than sign, notice. Then 32 minus 4 is 28. Now, again, ask yourself 3 questions. What do I need to get by itself? That x. What do I need to get rid of? A times negative 2. I need to get rid of everything by it, which is a times negative 2. The opposite of times is divide. Big flag, big flag. We just divided by a negative, and that's going to flip our inequality sign. So we have x is less than negative 14. So those are the pretty standard questions, but I also wanted to show y'all some kind of different ones because all of these had our variable on the left-hand side, which is how we like it. It's how we want to organize it. But that's not always going to be the case. So let's go to the back, and I have a few more examples on there. And you'll notice that on this one, the variables are on the right on number 5 and on 7 and 8. So we're going to come over here and we're going to ask ourselves 3 questions. It still works. What do I want to get by itself? The 3x. What do I want to get rid of? What's everything by it? On this one, it's a plus 4. How do I get rid of plus 4? With minus 4. So I have 3 equals 3x. Now, what do I want to get by itself? The x. What do I need to get rid of? This times 3. How do I get rid of times 3? Divide by 3. So x equals 1, or you can rewrite it because it's always going to be in that standard form like that. Okay, the other thing you could do is immediately reverse it and rewrite it. But why? That's just more work on you. Okay, so now we're going to come over to number 6. Number 6 is just another basic example. What do I want to get by itself? The 7x. What do I want to get rid of? The plus 1. How do I get rid of plus 1? Minus 1. And what I do to one side, I must do to the other. So I have 7x equals 14. Now, what do I want to get by itself? The x. What do I need to get rid of? The times 7. How do I get rid of it? What's the opposite? What's the opposite of times? Divide by 7. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. So x equals 2. Now where it gets a little tricky, guys. Okay, so it's going to get a little tricky down here on 7 and 8. Okay, so I want y'all to look at this and notice that the x is on this side. Okay, you can't just switch the symbol. If you rewrite it, you need to make sure you rewrite it exactly as it appears. So how it's eating the 10 over here, it's saying 10 is greater than, it needs to eat the 10 over here. Okay, so you need to make sure if it's pointing at the 74, it's pointing to it over here. But I'm going to show you guys how to go on ahead and do this and just fix it at the end. Okay, so ask yourself 3 questions. What do I need to get by itself? That negative 0.8x. What do I need to get rid of? The 74. How do I get rid of it? I subtract. How do I know to subtract? Because it's a positive in front of it. Okay, remember this negative goes with the 0.8. So minus 74. So I end up with negative 64 is greater than negative 0.8x. I like to drop that extra 0. It just kind of sometimes adds into like confusion basically, and I just like to drop it. So then I'm going to go over here and ask myself 3 questions again. What do I want to get by itself? The x. What do I need to get rid of here? Look at it, and what do you guys need to get rid of? I need to get rid of a times negative 0.8. Remember, just everything by it. So to get rid of times, I divide. Okay. These reduce to 1. Oh, whoa, I almost missed it. Big flag. I got to flip that sign. So I have x is now, instead of pointing that way, it's pointing that way. So x is greater instead of being less than it than over here, okay? So now I have it eating the x, and then 64 divided by negative 0.8. That one sounds kind of tricky, so I'm going to go type it in here. 64 divided by 0.8, 2 negatives make a positive, is an 80. So that's going to be an 80, okay? So then what I would do is after I solved the whole problem, I would rewrite it. So I would say x, and notice it's pointing at the 80. It's saying 80 is less than x. So now when I do it, it's saying x is greater than 80, which is the opposite. It makes sense. So notice whichever direction it's going, if it's pointing at 80, it's pointing at 80 when you flip it. Okay, and then this one will come out the same way. If you guys ask me to do those for you, I will. So now let's go over here and I'm going to work it the same way. Why rewrite it? It's just more work on me. So I have 4x minus 3. I want to get the 4x by itself. So what do I need to get rid of? What's by it? The negative 3. And I mean, what's by it on its side of the equation? So to get rid of a minus 3, I do the opposite, which is a plus 3. 9 is less than 4x. So again, ask yourself the 3 questions. What do I want to get by itself? The x. Okay, what do I want to get rid of? The times 4. How do you get rid of times 4? Divide by 4. So you have x, and I didn't have to flip anything, is 9 divided by 4, which is actually going to reduce. Oh, actually, it doesn't reduce. That's it. It doesn't reduce. I was thinking it goes in half, but it doesn't. If you ended up giving me the decimal number, I would be okay with that. So now let's talk about how we rewrite this. Okay, so I want that x on the left because we want our letters on the left. That's our natural progression. So on this one, it's eating the x. Okay, it's saying x is bigger. It's eating the bigger number. So x is still bigger, so I'm still there over 9/4. Okay, and that would be your correct answer. And that's it for those.